Ho, ho. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hi. So good to see you all. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome, Jenny. I wrote a note, but I think it's only being seen on YouTube. So I said, "You rock, Jenny." Welcome. Good morning, Leanne. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to this week's Duchenne Method Live. I'm pretty excited about this morning. We're ending our month of February, essentially, right? We're ending February. The last day of February is tomorrow. How was your February? Hey, good morning. Everybody's starting to come on. Good morning, Sebi. Welcome. Yeah, how was your February? Let me know in the comments. Did it go fast? Did it go slow? Did you feel you were productive? Lots of you have been very consistent with your gratitude posts. Thank you for joining me at the Duchenne Method Facebook group page and sharing your daily gratitudes, even if you don't always feel like it, or maybe you don't think you have anything to be grateful for. But that's the whole point, my friends. A little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a we have to take a moment to think about what we're grateful for. And that is the practice. That is the practice to go a little bit beyond our comfort zone in terms of doing stuff like this that actually incites more life force and energy in our lives by focusing on what's working. Lots is not working in the world. You might have noticed that in your own life. Maybe you have a lot of things that are not working exactly as you would like them to. In this group, we focus on what's working and we start to augment that relationship with what's working. Because the more you focus on what's working, guess what? Energetically, the universal flow brings you more of what you put out. That's how it works. That's a quantum physics rule, guideline. The more you put out what you want to get back, the more you get back what you put out. Okay, that was a mouthful. Yes, Sabi says February was full of emotions. Ooh, February was full of emotions. For me too, Sabi. I wonder what emotions you might have gone through, but based on your posts in our group, yes, I can remember that there was much that you went through in a very short month, right? It's only 28 days. Isn't it amazing how much we can experience and feel and live in a very short amount of time? Oh, Lori Stabler is in the house. Good morning, Lori from Florida. So nice to have you with us live. Welcome. I'm delighted to have you here. Oh, Sabi, and your mom is here. Yay. Welcome, Mom. I'm so happy that you're here. Yay. Welcome. Okay, my friends. So without further ado, welcome to this week's Duchenne Method live stream where I attempt to demystify the mind body connection for you to achieve optimal health and so that you might use these tools in your own life. So, this is all about self healing, right? First of all, being in a circle of creation like this, being in community in this form, knowing that other people are here, well, you can tap in and just ask yourself, like right now, how does it feel to be in a group, even though you might not see each other? You might not be interactly directly with one another. Basically, I'm channeling all of you, right? And we're communicating. How does it make you feel to be part of a group, to connect in this way? The idea is that we develop self-healing tools here, and not just from a structural integration way, right? Which is the work that I do with my clients in my office, but more on a mind body alignment sphere, everything that has to do with mind body alignment. And so each week, I invite you into this sacred circle of connection to acknowledge, to engage, and to support one another in discussing topics related to mind-body alignment. Now, why do I choose acknowledge, engage, and support? Because I have found throughout my several years as a practitioner, working with people one-on-one and in groups, that these three steps, acknowledgement, engagement, and support, have naturally kind of arisen for me as a system, a methodology, very simple, right? Three-step system that really helps people to feel more alive and more engaged overall. So I talk about these three steps pretty much at every class, but that's the reason why I keep inviting you into acknowledgement first and foremost of the self. Acknowledge yourselves. Engage first and foremost with yourself. Inquiry, contemplation, meditation. These are all engagement practices. And then support comes after that. Support is throughout your day, the type of talk that you have with yourself. How are you dealing with yourself throughout the day? Are you mindful of your every step, of your breath, of your food intake, of how you communicate with your animals, with your children, with your friends, with your colleagues? Okay, so that's why I'm using this three-step system. I found it to be a very simple, effective way to grow self-love, self-assurance, to connect to ourselves on a deeper level in a very, very simple way. Okay, does that make sense for everyone? That's why I keep bringing it back up. All right, Leanne, February says was challenging and full of discovery. Fantastic. Full of discovery. We love discoveries. This is what we're doing here. Thank you, Leanne, for sharing that. All right. During the month of February, this month, we have focused on topics of love. We have focused on topics of connection. And of course, we spoke a lot about our beautiful hearts. At the beginning of the month, we explored the extracellular matrix, fascia. I talk a lot about fascia because that is my specialty. This is the line of research that I have done the most, or one of the most, in my career and life, the connective tissue of our mind, body, spirit, and emotions. Fascia is a fiber-like substance that provides stability and enables the flawless interconnection and communication between all parts of the body. So that was our first talk this month. And then we went into talking about the heart of the matter. And we learned how our hearts and brains are intricately connected with branches of cerebral arteries, creating pathways for a thinking heart and a feeling brain. So I kind of threw in a little twister in there. That was a couple of weeks ago. Last week, we explored the topic of Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, which is also known as the broken heart syndrome. And that's a sudden condition that is brought on by severe stress, by shock or grief. And it leaves our heart literally misshapen. It looks like a takotsubo, a Japanese takotsubo vase. And if you were here last week, you know that the takotsubo vase has kind of a narrow-ish opening and then a wider body, and then that narrows again at the bottom. And literally, when our hearts break, it takes the shape of the takotsubo vase. Isn't that fascinating? So your emotions, being heartbroken, affects your physiology and anatomy. So much so that it can change the shape of your organs. We looked at that last week, right? And if you haven't seen any of those, you can always go to my YouTube channel at Art of Alignment Academy and watch them. And if you know anybody in your life that might benefit from this, if it helps them, what I'm really trying to do here with you is to offer some level of education through this dynamic exchange with you so that we can discuss things and that you get to share in the comments your perception, your insights. Also, you might have gone through a broken heart. And when we talk about these things together as a group, that is another component of a healing mechanism that is lit up from inside our bodies. This week, I'm super stoked. I want to talk to you, I want to discuss, I want to engage around the heart's magnetic field. The heart's magnetic field and how tapping into it can create coherence. And coherence is a state of clear focus and loving connection. Clearing your mind and heart. That's one of the ways to attain coherence. It also frees you from addictive emotions. So it leaves you available to creating this amazing magnetic field stemming from your heart source. And this is a really important part of developing your relationship to your heart's magnetic field, is to really focus on releasing, letting go of addictive emotions. And sometimes we're not aware that we're addicted to emotions. And sometimes how it can show up is that you become addicted to feeling a little bit blue. You become addicted to feeling a little bit depressed in the morning. And it's subconscious because you're just feeling it, right? And you're thinking, oh man, why am I feeling like this morning? These are addictive emotions that we connect with because on some level, there is a sense of safety and security in feeling emotions over and over again. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. If you can, give me a little heads up or a one. What are addictive emotions? Yeah, okay, good. You got it. Yeah. So that those type of addictive emotions, right? So addictive emotions that tend to pull you down. Now, I do want to say that sometimes being on a constant high is also an addictive emotion. So anything I would say that takes you into the extremes of feeling very high or very low or a little bit of in between. And what we're working together here is to kind of bring this coherence today, this coherence so that we get more into a space of balance together. So that when you notice that you are on a constant high and everything is amazing and you're going, usually there's going to be a crash at some point. I think I'm an expert in this one. I just want to say maybe there are others who are experts in this. So we go, we have a super high, and then all of a sudden we crash, right? Or there's this kind of like numbing sense of depression, a compression that occurs. And that's true for many people in the morning. Sometimes we'll wake up, we have a sense of the blues on a regular basis. That, my friends, is an addictive emotion. And so today I want to talk to you about how you might tap in to your heart's magnetic field to help you remove these addictive and toxic emotions, whether it's a super high or whether it's a low. We're working to create more balance, to find a place in the middle. And you will see that the middle is a very, very sexy place to be. Okay, Elise, yay. Elise is here from New York City. I know that there are many more of you here. If you say hi in the comments, I might get a chance to give you a shout out. And if you don't want to, it's okay. Elise, welcome. Leanne says, hi, I didn't know we could be addicted to emotion. I think mine is hunger. Is it hunger? Yeah. Is it hunger? Is that what you mean? Like you're hungry all the time? You need to eat something all the time? Yes, for sure. Hello from Montreal. Who is tapping in from Montreal? Who is this? I don't see your name. You might want to say your name, but welcome. I'm happy that you're here. So Leanne clarified that if you are addictive. Oh, anger. Yes. Leanne thinks she's addicted to anger. Hey, Janelle is in the house. Awesome. Welcome, Janelle. Thank you for being here. Janelle is another creative leadership coach, and she's here with us this morning. Thank you. So Leanne, you're saying hunger, that you're hungry all the time, not angry, that you are hungry all the time, right? I just want to confirm that. So yes, hunger is not the addictive emotion. Hunger, yes, Leanne. Okay. So hunger, by the way, great point. Thank you for sharing that. Hi, it's Debbie Ruth. Is it Debbie Ruth? Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. Or I'm not sure if it's not Debbie Ruth. Give me your last name so I know who you are. But welcome, welcome. So we're talking about addictive emotions. Hunger. Leanne, hunger is not an addictive emotion. Hunger is the result of an addictive emotion. So, oh, Debbie Betesh, good morning. Hi, Debbie, long time. Long time no see. I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome, welcome. Wonderful to have you with us. Debbie is a wonderful, wonderful woman, client of mine from many years back. I'm so happy that you found your way here, Debbie. So, Liane, hunger. Hunger is not an addictive emotion. Hunger is the result, is the action that you take based on an addictive emotion. So, what I'd like to invite you to consider is what is behind the action of being hungry. And I'll give you an example. For a lot of us, there is an addiction to filling ourselves because there is a void. And the void within us can be something that comes from a long time ago, and it manifests as an adult in wanting to fill a place in us that feels empty. And hunger or eating, being hungry all the time, is an attempt to fill that void. For example, it's possible that you might not feel heard in your life. It's possible that you don't feel acknowledged in your life. Remember, I started our class today by saying why I used that three-step system to acknowledge, engage, and support. So for most of us, if we go into being hungry all the time, we're trying to fill a void because your body, unless something's going on, right? Physiologically, chemically, it's possible that you might be hungry a lot of the time, but that's a different thing. There's always an emotion that is triggered that moves us into an action. So for you, I don't know what it is, but consider these ideas. Consider the possibility of not feeling acknowledged in your life. If we don't feel acknowledged, we are hungry to be seen and heard. We are hungry to be appreciated, which is why I very much believe in acknowledging one another. Okay, Leanne, we're getting there. So you didn't express yourself well. You mean being angry. Yeah. So you're angry all the time as an addictive behavior. Excellent. So there's something behind the anger, right? So I want you to think about today as I talk about the heart's magnetic field, and we're going to do an exercise together that might help you to get out of this stage of angriness. And that, Leanne, is a process, right? You're feeling angry again because someplace in your life, in your environment, you are not being acknowledged or seen or heard or appreciated or loved. Somewhere back there, there's something going on where there's a disconnect, where you feel out of connection with yourself and also perhaps our environments. There can be toxicity in our environments, and sometimes toxicity masks as friendship. Toxicity masks as family members. And I'm not downing anybody's family members. I just want you to be able to look around you. Another concept I talked about several weeks ago, or maybe a few months ago now, is this idea of the 5 closest people to you are you. So look around you. Look around, look at who you are surrounding yourself with. Maybe you're angry because of where you are in your life. Maybe that you feel you should be further along. Maybe it's usually when we're angry, it's because we feel unsatisfied about a part of our lives. Yes. So, Leanne, I want you to explore that as I'm talking about the heart's magnetic field today. And then Lori Stabler says that hunger convo was for me. Awesome. My cravings are wanting to fill a void. Yeah, a lot of us. A lot of us, Lori. Thank you for sharing that. A lot of us have cravings. We want to fill a void in us. So we'll reach for food, we'll reach for drinks, we'll reach for drugs, we'll reach for a cigarette, we'll reach for vape. We will reach for sex. When we are craving, there's a place in our lives where we feel there's something missing. There's something missing. And what I want to teach you today is to assist you in becoming more present around your addictive emotions so that you can actually work with them. So, another piece that I teach is not to push anything away. Don't try to get rid of your emotions. Don't put them in the back and say, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to put them in the back. You know why? Because that monster in the back comes back to get us. So what I want to share with you is how do you manage them and how do you work with them from a place of compassion? That's really hard to do, by the way. That's why most people remain angry, or they get so caught up in their anger that they start to act out of anger. And when we act out of anger, of course, this is where you see horrible things happening in the world, because people do not take time to pause and to check in with what is that anger trying to tell you, Leanne? What is your hunger communicating to you, Lori? So this is really about going on a deeper level of identifying what is going on with me that these emotions arise. What am I lacking in my life? Maybe you are lacking some support in your life. Well, here's the place where we start to talk about it. No blame, shame. There's no blame, shame. There's no pointing of fingers. This is 100% responsibility towards ourselves. I choose to take responsibility for my anger. I'm not going to blame it on my mother, on my father, on my brother, sister, son, friend. No, we're not going to do that. When we are adults, this is a different conversation than when you are a child. I'm not talking about children. As adults, we have a responsibility to take hold of our emotions. And the way that I know works 100% of the time is when we approach it with kindness and compassion. And I want to share with you that this took me a lifetime to learn myself, which is why I'm so adamant about sharing it today, because it works, because I have, let's say, traversed at least one veil. There are many more. But I feel like I'm going in that right direction, and I want to invite you with me. Okay, does that make sense? Give me a 1 if that makes sense. Leanne says, okay, that does resonate. Thank you so much. You're welcome, honey. Jenny says, that makes so much sense about anger feeling unheard. My little girl has autism, and if she feels like people aren't listening to her, she explodes because she has no filter for stopping her emotions. Thank you, Jenny. That's really helpful. I'm going to show your comment here. So Jenny says that makes so much sense about feeling anger, about anger feeling unheard. My little girl has autism and she feels like people aren't listening to her. She explodes because she has no filter for stopping her emotions. And it's interesting because you mentioned specifically that your daughter has autism. And let's be honest and real. We don't have to have autism to explode when we're not heard or seen. Am I right? If we're not heard or seen, we feel invisible. I remember, I don't know if any of you watch Frankie and Grace, but it's hilarious. And there is one episode where they go to the supermarket to buy cigarettes because they're having a crisis, right? And so they're going to the supermarket, and there's this young man there who works there to serve them. And for some reason, he doesn't pay any attention to them. And Frankie and Frankie and Grace go through this whole scene about being unheard, unseen. Am I irrelevant? Ask that question. Do you feel irrelevant in some areas of your life? This is super important to check in. Sabi says, in my perspective, anger can allow to set actions and boundaries too. Yes, of course. Thank you, Sabi. Great perspective. Yes, anger can also help us. Anger can be useful. That is exactly correct. So if we use anger, if we communicate with anger, we are in relationship with our anger, you're absolutely right, Sabi. Thank you. Yes, it can allow us to set actions, proper, useful actions, and healthy boundaries. Excellent point. Thank you, Sabi. Somebody else says, I love this. Thank you. I'm not sure who said this, but thank you for sharing. Sabi says, my mom shares that when she's angry, for instance, with dad, she breathes. Yes, thank you, mom. Excellent technique. You have to go into a breath. If you're angry, usually we want to move out of the state in which we find ourselves, meaning the environment. So in order to change your state, you have to change your environment. That's super helpful. Thank you, Mom. Very insightful. So you might go for a walk, right? You might go leave the room because if you stay, you might not say anything helpful, isn't it? When we're angry and we're in a communication pattern with someone, if we cannot manage our emotions, usually it tends to escalate. Great. Elise shares, my anger hides, protects me from feeling sad and alone, invisible. My anger hides, protects me from feeling sad and alone, from feeling invisible. That is profound, Elise. Thank you for sharing that. Your anger hides and protects you from feeling sad and alone, from feeling invisible. That's another really great use of your anger. And I know that you know this, Elise, because you are an advanced practitioner in biodynamic craniosacral therapy. And I know that you know this. This feeling invisible, irrelevant is a form of microaggression. Exactly. Right. So are you suggesting that you are sending microaggressive signals to yourself when you're angry? Am I understanding that correctly? Janelle says, yes, Sabi, in the book, The Language of Emotions. Let's share this one. Janelle says, yes, Sabi, in the book, The Language of Emotions by Carla McLaren, she talks about anger being a friend asking us what must be protected or boundaries, what must be restored. Thank you, Janelle, 100%. Yes, these are all concepts, my friends, that we have explored in the Creative Leadership Coaching Program. And I'm so happy to see you here naming them. And it seems like to me, using them in your own lives to assist you in moving through those sometimes tunnels of darkness. Because if you use anger to your advantage, you could do a lot of great things. You see what I mean? So the addictive emotions, the word addictive means you're going back to them over and over again. Frequently, that is done unconsciously. So the work that we do here is work of consciousness. If you are unconscious, that's how addiction arises within us. And then you keep going through the same patterns, having the same emotions. And essentially what that does, if it's unconscious, it brings about sickness. It brings about dis-ease in the body. Elise says, not exactly. When others ignore us or act like we are invisible, that is a microaggression from them. Yes, I totally agree. Right. So avoidance. So that's an interesting concept, avoidance. And ignoring us is absolutely a microaggression. I totally agree. Leanne says, all the comments so useful. Thanks to everyone. Yes, they are. Thank you, Leanne. And then Sabi says, thank you, dear Janelle, for the mention of the book Language of Emotions. All right, my friends. Thank you all for your great interaction. I love it, love it, love it. It makes it very rich, doesn't it? Oh, welcome. Beth English is here. Good morning, Beth. Wonderful to have you with us. All right, so let's go into the heart's magnetic field. I have much more to share about this. So, what we've come to understand is that the heart's magnetic field and the importance of being able to tap into it creates coherence. Coherence is a state of clear focus and loving connection. Then we went into talking about addictive emotions. We've been on that for a while. I'm going to move on, right? So your addictive emotions leave you in a state that, if you are unconscious of them, actually become you, where there is no space for you to magnetize the energy from your heart's energetic field. Okay, now, how you can produce this state of harmonious frequency or coherence is by focusing inward, quieting the mind, and tapping into a clear intent. Again, when you are angry, hangry, you have the blues, you're depressed, you feel compressed, you feel stuck, the creativity is not flowing. Here is the recipe for shifting your state, right? To release your fascial adhesions. What am I talking about? Fascia, connective tissue. If I am working with you on your body, I am releasing fascial adhesions, right? In your face, in your mouth, in your neck, in your chest. Physically, that is what I do. And as you release fascial adhesions, how do you do that? Well, I invite you to go inward through your breath. As Sabi's mother shared, when you're breathing, you can quiet the mind, and then you want to tap into a clear intent. So that means that if, Leanne, for example, anger arises or hunger arises, you keep grabbing for something to fill your void. We want to shift into tapping into a clear intent. And what that means is getting into conversation with the emotion that arises at that moment. Not an easy thing to do, a very, very worthwhile practice. And this is a daily practice. There is no reaching a goal in our conversation, my friends. There is no reaching of the goal per se. We are learning to cultivate a relationship of compassion and heart openness with the process. That's what this is about. This group, what I'm teaching, is about the process. If you have positive intent, which means you go into a creative conversation with your anger, acknowledge your anger. Remember, acknowledge, engage, and support. You acknowledge your anger so that you might get into a conversation. That is a positive intent. That action of moving into positive intent, of having a conversation with your addictive emotion, whether it's anger or something else, creates a vibrational pattern inside of your body. It shifts your extracellular matrix vibrancy. So your cells start to vibrate differently. And so if your cells are vibrating, imagine yourself on a trampoline. When you're on a trampoline, you are releasing your connective tissue, you're releasing your fascia. Therefore, there's more hydration moving through the body. There's more blood flow moving through the body, oxygenating all of your arteries and veins in the body, therefore creating a space, even a momentary space of enlightenment, right? Or a crack where you see a little bit of light. And that vibrational pattern gives you a chance to remove yourself from the attachment to the addictive emotion. Are you tracking? Are you tracking? Give me a 1 if you're tracking. Good morning, Janet. Happy to see you. Good morning, Christiane and Gérald. Ha ha. I love it. They just landed from their trip in Africa. God bless you. What an incredible trip. I've been following you on Facebook. Thank you. Okay, so we're tracking, right? So we need to create some space. We need to literally shake it off. This is why shaking is so helpful. This is not a joke. When you're shaking, you are literally creating a different vibrational frequency movement inside of your extracellular matrix, which is your fascia, your connective tissue. 1-ish, getting there. Haha. Okay, Jenny, stick with me. Okay, stick with me. All right, now we're talking about coherence, right? Coherence, the definition, the Webster Dictionary definition, is the quality of forming a unified whole. The quality of forming a unified whole. So if I am thinking of my heart as that space that I want to tap into, and tap into its magnetic field, right? To create a sense of loving connection and ease in my body, right? We want to learn how to do that. How do I tap into that possibility? So, what did I say? In order to tap into that possibility is to focus inward. You breathe and you quiet the mind, and then you tap into clear intent. Coherence is also coherence healing, I should say, is also a term that is well known in healing circles. It's been coined by Dr. Joe Dispenza. You might have heard of him. Very interesting person who does amazing work in the world. I suggest you look him up if you don't know him. Dr. Joe Dispenza. And part of what I'm sharing with you here today is an amalgamation of what he shares and what I've experienced in my own work. So the first thing we want to look at in terms of tapping into the heart's magnetic field is to understand that the energy or life force that runs through our bodies is the expression of health. I'm going to repeat that. The energy or life force that runs through our bodies is the expression of health. Now, if you mismanage your emotions, addictive emotions, right? There's a process. So today you gotta stay with me. A little bit of a process here in what I'm describing. If you mismanage your emotions, if you mismanage your attention, your energy, naturally you will get out of balance. So the energy or life force that runs through our bodies is the expression of health. So if your life force is depleted because you are addictive to the emotion of anger or hunger, what's behind that, or of not feeling loved, or of not being seen or heard, usually that will bring imbalance in the body, right? Anything that leaves us feeling less than. And you've all had this experience. Sometimes it's a silly little thing. It could just be someone that, ignores you at the supermarket, or the cashier is not being very friendly on any given day. That affects us. Right? So to become aware of the subtleties of this, if the body is conditioned over a period of time to stay out of balance, then it's starting to get diseased. Okay? So if your life force is not flowing easily throughout your body, because you have these addictive emotions that take up all the space in your life, that you're constantly worrying or thinking, or your reactions tend to be more aggressive or angry, that Remember the extracellular matrix vibrancy? That will limit the movement inside of your body. If there's no flow, if there's no energy moving through your body, if your fascia is constricted, this is where disease develop from. I'll give you a few examples. In IBS, bowel syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, anything that has to do with your digestive system is when you are out of balance. If you have an inflamed liver, if you have any type of itis in the gastrointestinal tract, any inflammation within your organs is a sign of imbalance in your body that is based on addictive behavior and emotions. Are you tracking? Does this make sense? I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. I have more to go. If you have any questions or if you're not tracking, let me know. Okay, so stick with me. We're getting there. Now that you know this, right? When we understand the formula to create change in the brain and body, a lot of the time the expression of that energy begins to restore back life and balance to us. So we're going to talk about the formula, right, to create change in your brain and body. I'm getting to the heart's magnetic field. You see me coming here? Okay, so now we have identified what might create imbalance in the body based on addictive emotions. Now we're going to go into the formula, understanding a formula that will create change in the brain and body where you can restore balance, restore your life energy. And here I am talking about restoring life force and energy and balance without exogenous substances, meaning without drugs. Our human system is the laboratory for all of the drugs that we need in this case to restore balance in the body. First, you have to understand, number one, you have to understand that you can change your mind. You can change your mind. You can change the way you think about things. You can take a different perspective. You have the power to do this. So when you get angry about something, be in relationship with the emotion that arises. Because if you're in relationship with the emotion, notice what it is, go inward, quiet down, go inward, quiet down, and know that in that moment, you have the power to shift your state. You can change your mind. And if you can change your mind, my friends, that can influence your body. Remember the heart of the matter, mind-brain connection through cerebral arteries, these little pathways that keep going. I'm not even talking about the vagus nerve yet, right? That's another pathway of information that connects brain to gut, that connects brain to heart to gut. So when we are in this state of changing our minds, influencing our body, you are giving signals for new genes. New genes, I know, I'm going there, I'm going deep. New genes to shift your extracellular matrix, as well as the environment in which you find yourself. I know, stick with me, right? So if you can change your mind, about something, you can change your body. You know this. You've been angry, and you know that emotions don't last forever also. So you go through a moment of anger or fear. You get freaked out about something, then you calm down, you go inward, focus on your breath, take a moment to check in. That changes your physiology. You feel more grounded. That can create and send new signals inside of your genetic system to shift and change your genes, as well as to the environment around you. Okay. I know, it's a lot. Stay with me. It's a recording, so it's good. We can all go back to it. And how to stay ahead of the environmental conditions, meaning what I mean by environment and your genetic code that can be shifted is that you oftentimes have an effect on your environment. Just like Sabi's mom was saying, if she feels angry or impatient with her husband, she probably leaves the room. She goes into a different environment. And I'm talking about environment here as the matter around you. So in order for you to affect your material space, your environment, you want to go inward and within to first calm down, connect with your internal system, your circuitry of information throughout your body. You want to go in, you want to tap in, have a clear intent of where you want to go, which is to calm down your body. From there, you're starting to create a sense of ease and loving connection in your body. That is coherence. You're getting coherence in your body. That happens naturally. As soon as you go inwards, the invitation for coherence is on the table. Does this make sense? Sabi says, my mom expresses that sometimes when we forgive, even if we don't forget, it helps to release and feel lighter too. This is true. Thank you, Mom. Forgiveness is an incredible tool to help us. Why? Because if you go into forgiveness, well, don't you have to go inward? Don't you have to calm the mind? Don't you have to come from a place of love and benevolence? Exactly. That's exactly right. Thank you. Is it connected to epigenetics? Yes, it's very much connected to epigenetics, Sabi. Thank you for the question. I'm not going to get into epigenetics today, but yes, absolutely connected. Lori shares, fascinating. Good. Fascination. I'm glad that it's fascinating. Okay, so now you have a little bit of a picture of the steps towards producing a state of coherence in your body. I've been sharing it with you verbally. You're cognitively getting it, pieces of it, right? So it's entering the body through the brain. Now I want to take you into an actual exercise of how to create coherence in your body so that your heart's magnetic field might grow. Are you ready? Janet says, yes, I gave myself the opportunity to be 100% present with my fear last week, and it passed. Something changed in my body in a big way. Janet says, this is worth sharing. Yes, I gave myself the opportunity to be 100% present with my fear last week, and it passed. Thank you, Janet. Something changed in my body in a big way. So I don't have to convince you, people here on the call, right? You're already working with this. You're already having these experiences. Thank you so much. Wow, amazing, Janet. Courageous. Yes, that's exactly right. Yes, it does require courage to move into being in relationship with these addictive emotions, right? So I'm not talking today about specifically using the addictive emotions as a support system, although that is another conversation and possibility. Today, I'm really focusing on the addictive emotions that keep you trapped into a space of feeling a certain way where you feel you cannot get out, where you feel obliged on some level. You can't move out of the blues or the depression in the morning. You can't move out of the anger because you've been shorted in life. You can't move out because some relative did something horrible to you. And this is exactly what I'm talking about with these addictive emotions. They are insidious. And sometimes we're not even thinking about them, but they're still in our bodies. And we act them out unconsciously because they're living in this circuitry of information. The body is infinitely complex, my friends. So I want you to kind of tap into that so that when you act weird, does it ever happen for you to act weird or to be triggered by something seemingly unimportant, and you feel like you've been taken through the rigor, or you just react too quickly to something? That's living in the body. These are addictive emotions that are not released in your body. So when that occurs, my invitation to you is to tap into them, be in relationship with them from a heart-centered perspective, from your heart of compassion. The only way to the other side is through. You can't go around. You can't go around. If you go around, you're cheating yourself. The only way to the other side is through. We need to go through it. And the best equipment that I have to share with you to go through it is kindness, compassion, love, an open heart, because those tools will sustain you all the way through to the other side when you are completely transformed, mind, body, and spirit. Not just from your mind perspective. Like Janet says, your whole body will change. You will feel it in your body. You feel lighter. You feel elated without any drugs, without having to make a doctor's appointment. You have the laboratory within you. Okay. Thank you for the amazing comments and support. This is fantastic. I really appreciate you. Okay, we're going to go into a practice just for 5 minutes. Okay, so what I want you to do is get comfy. You're either standing or sitting, whatever it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to start to rub our hands together. Rub your hands together. And know that when you're rubbing your hands together, the energy is moving through your arms, going into your shoulders, into your neck. It's connecting into your brain. And the brain consequently connects down back into your upper chest and heart space. This is the triangle: your hands, your brain, and your heart. So rub your hands together, and I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about a positive emotion, love, tenderness, kindness, happiness, positivity, generosity, benevolence, compassion. Think about a positive emotion, eyes closed, as you are rubbing your hands together. Now rub your hands vigorously so you can feel the energy in your hands. Rub your hands vigorously, thinking about that positive emotion. Okay, I'm going to think about love. I'm thinking about love. So I'm telling you what I'm doing. Okay, vigorously rubbing hands. Now stop rubbing your hands, slow down, and just open up your hands just a tiny little bit. Now go inward. Go inward, quiet the mind. Only with that positive emotion that you want to feel. Mine is love. So I'm focusing on love right now. I have a very clear intent. Keep your hands together. Now feel the energy between your hands. Feel the energy between your hands. And take a couple of conscious breaths through the nose. Inhaling, exhaling through the nose. Holding the space here. And once you have you're done with your breathing, we're slowly going to turn our hands towards our hearts and place your hands over your heart, still with the positive emotion that you want to feel. Go inward, quiet the mind, soften the breath with the clear intent of your positive emotions. feeling it into your heart. Breathing through the nose only. We're going to stay here for about a minute. Really focus on your positive emotion, breathing through the nose, quieting the mind, going inward, clear intent on your positive emotion, and let your hands, let the energy of your hands move through your skin, through the layers underneath your skin, through the muscles, all the way into your heart space. Feel your heart, connect with your heart, be here with your heart. And you can even repeat that positive emotion that you want to generate. For me, it's love. So I just repeat love, love, love into my heart. And then a couple more conscious breaths. And when you feel ready, you can bring your awareness back to center, to us, and slowly float your eyes open. You can keep your hands to your heart or release them. Beautiful. Does anyone have anything to share about the experience? Now, this was very short. You can do this, right? Clearly much longer, but this was just an invitation into tapping into your heart's magnetic field. So for me, what happened is I calmed down. Beautiful. My heart opened. And what I want you to know here, Beth says, this is wonderful, such important work. Thank you, Beth. I know that you're doing this work too, honey. Thank you so much for your support and being here. Janelle says, tiny tears of joy. Thank you for that. Powerful. So, this very simple exercise, if you do it regularly, what starts to happen, and for longer, clearly, right? I just did it very quickly to show you. Sabi says, it feels good. Thank you. Thank you too, Sabi. So what happens is your energetic field, just from this simple exercise, from here, moves out of your body, moves beyond your body into your environment, up to 9 meters. This has been scientifically studied. It moves out into your environment up to 9 meters, which is about 30 feet beyond you. Do you understand the power of this? Janet says, release and relief. Beth says 100%, right? So tapping into your heart's magnetic field. Now, what I'm saying is, not only does it heal you, but it moves beyond your space into the world, affecting your environment and everyone around you. These are tools of the mystics, my friends. This is what Jesus, Buddha, Mother Teresa, Mohammed, all of them have understood that tapping into your heart's magnetic field is magic. It is a tool of the mystics, and we all have that magic within us. We all have that magic within us. Do not underestimate the power of this temple, of this laboratory. Tap into good feelings every single day. It's a practice. It doesn't just happen out of the blue. As human beings, we need to practice things. This is how it works. We've come on this planet to practice, to work out, to write, to become How do we say, to become ébloui, not ébloui, but expansive in our gifts. That's why we're here. So when you tap into your heart's magnetic field, you are helping yourself tap into your gifts, to your talents, to what you're really doing here on this planet. Sabi asks, could we do that beautiful exercise to other organs in need too? Of course. If you're feeling like your liver is inflamed, that needs help, your pancreas, your stomach, your duodenum, your greater omentum, your intestines, your large intestine, your colon. A lot of people suffer from colon cancer, right? But you have to do it. You have to do the exercise. It's not just going to happen on its own. We need to practice these things. So I leave you with this exercise this week, and I hope that you will invest time and energy in it. Invest time. And we talk a lot about things, but few people actually take action. Acknowledge yourself, engage with yourself, and support yourself with these very simple tools that I'm sharing with you every single week. I am over my time today. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, please write them in our Facebook group page at the Duchenne Method. Of course, you can contact me directly. You can also write comments and ask questions on YouTube. And as of next week, I am going to be broadcasting from my YouTube channel. So I will not be broadcasting from Facebook. I will be broadcasting from my YouTube channel at Art of Alignment Academy. And I'm doing that because some people don't have access to Facebook. And I'm really trying to reach a larger community. So if you like what you are experiencing here, if you like this format, if you feel it's helpful, please invite your friends to join us. Have them check out my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you to subscribe to it. And if you like, give me a like on YouTube. So next week, we're going to start going on the YouTube channel. Also, we are continuing with our daily gratitudes on the Duchenne Method Facebook group page. I think we're up to day 82 or 83 today. For 82 to 83 days now, we've been writing our daily gratitudes. But what's happening with these daily gratitudes is that so much more of you are sharing so much more of yourself. So we're creating this beautiful virtual tribe of warriors of light that are sharing from their heart. That's also connected to your heart's magnetic field. Finally, everyone here, next month is Women's Month. We're starting to go March, right? March is Women's Month. So next month, my team and I are preparing daily posts about women, anything related to women, women's health, tips on maintaining health, connection, a lot in the same way we're doing, but particularly focused on women. I'll be sharing some of my own personal practices. You will find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. If you're not connected to me on Instagram, please do so. I'll be sharing every day. We're going to have different posts about Women's Month, and you can certainly share your own. So feel free to join us in this. Elise says, thank you, Anne-Marie and everybody. Thank you, Elise. Sabi says, thank you so much, Mummy and Sabi. Thank you both for being here. Lori says, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Lori. I love you all. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here. Many kisses. And I will see you next week. YouTube channel, Art of Alignment Academy. Bye, everyone. Thank you for being here. Much love.